Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I popped in here, but today I was feeling guided to share something with you that is on the topic of power. How do you use your power? That's the question I wish to pose to you. And that's the question you should be posing to yourself every morning, every day. When you look around and see people who are empowered, don't you wish you could be like them? Don't you wish you had their sense of self confidence, their ability to stand in their truth, even if it means they have to disagree with a room full of people, their ability to speak their truth and share their views without feeling awkward or uncomfortable? Don't you wish you could be like people who walk into a room and just command the space because of the energy they carry? And if you want to know how to do that, you have to understand the topic of power, especially your own power. So, power is the most important thing we bring into our daily experiences. We bring it into our relationships, especially, right? There's a power dynamic in every relationship that you have, whether it's your coworker, your boss, your spouse, your child, your friends. We are constantly exchanging energy with other people, and people who have more power seem to command more energy. They seem to be able to dictate how the others should show up and behave and speak and do in their presence. The very first origins we have with regard to power is our family, our community, our society. So, this is called tribal power. This is where we begin to understand what power looks like. We are born into families, we take on the beliefs that our parents gave us, we have the beliefs of the culture that we are born into, the society, the religion, the trends that we are born into, and all of these influence how we show up in our tribal societies. So, tribal power is the first kind of power. Once we learn how to develop our own sense of self, we move into what is called individual power, right? This is probably the teenage years when it's at its loudest, when we discover what we like, who we are, which influences speak to us, who are the people we admire, how we want to dress, how we want to show up in the world, what our personality is saying about who we are. That's individual power. But the third kind of power is the most significant kind of power we can have, and that is called transcendent power. Transcendent power is really symbolic, and it is about the energy you carry when you walk into a space, when you show up in a relationship. What is the energy you bring into a conflict? When two members of the family are warring with each other. Hi, Natalie, how nice to see you. Hi, Teresa. When two members of a family or a couple of your friends are having a conflict or an argument, how do you show up in that space? Are you seen as the peacemaker? Are you the mediator? Are you the one who steps in and holds space in the way this argument or conflict unfolds? That is the most important kind of power we carry, transcendent power. So, the way we use power in our everyday lives determines how much energy we have. So let's say, for instance, that you have 100 units of power and you are engaging in activities that use up 140 units of power. Now, you are already in energetic debt when that is happening. You are using more than you actually have. You have 100. What you're doing requires 140. So you're 40 units in excess already. You're in debt. And where does this energy, extra energy, come from? It comes from the cells of your body. It comes from the cells of your body, and you're borrowing energy from the cells which otherwise would be used for cell management. Your cells need energy to do the work that they're here to do. So when you borrow from your cells, they are depleted. And this is how we run into energetic debt. So when we don't have enough energy, we cannot stand in our power. That is the bottom line. When we are in energetic debt, then we have given our power away to other people. This is a big problem that people pleasers have. We give our power away to other people. We do as they say. We show up as how they want us to show up. We speak about things that would please them. We are afraid to express our views and opinions. We don't want to say anything contradictory. We don't like conflict. In all of these instances, what's happening is that you are giving your power away to somebody else. So they are taking from you and you are depleted. So your energy is depleted and you are not really happy because you recognize what you're doing. You don't like giving your power away, but somehow you believe that their approval, their liking you, their feeling good about you depends on your being okay with what they want you to be. You toe the line, you do as they say, you speak the things they want to hear because your desire for their approval, their affection, their being okay with who you are is so important. That's because you're borrowing from them. You are not generating your own sense of worth, you are borrowing from these people. So in such cases, what happens is you are in constant energy depletion. In order to be strong and self-sufficient energetically, we need to build boundaries. We need to build boundaries, say no to people who are not able to respect who we are, who don't like us for our opinions, for the way we show up in the world, and we need to own our truth. Our truth doesn't have to have anybody's stamp of approval because it is our truth. We are unique beings, and as unique beings, we speak our brand of truth, and we should be okay with who we are and what we think about the world. Nobody else has to be okay with it. The problem arises when you have a desire for other people to like you. And the moment you are in that space of wanting to be liked and needing to be liked and approved of, you've given your power away and you're borrowing from them. So you're not generating your own energy or sense of self. You are borrowing from the people whose approval and affection you are seeking. So what are some things you can do to generate this your own sense of power? One of the first things I would advise you to do is really think about where this habit or this practice started. Maybe you grew up with a very domineering mother. Maybe your father was a rageaholic and you learned very quickly to shut your sense of self down because it wasn't safe to be you. You learned very quickly that you had to be a certain way, behave in a certain way in order for you to earn his love and approval. So you bring that pattern into your other relationships, maybe your love relationship, your romantic partnerships, and very quickly you become subservient to your spouse, your partner, the person you're with. And again, in that power exchange, you are deficient because you're always being led by the other person's likes and dislikes. So the first thing is to recognize where this came from. Did this come from your family of origin? Did this come from the messages you picked up? Because those messages are stagnant energy stuck in your root chakra. The root chakra is all about tribal power, right? The root chakra is about money, security, feeling safe in the world, belonging, and all these are needs that have to be met by the external world. Whereas when you move up the chakras to the heart chakra, the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, these are about the internal self. So if you don't have a sense of who you are, it's very hard to generate this kind of power. Hi Heidi, nice to see you. Thank you for joining me live. So it's very important to recognize where this came from. And then secondly, really begin to unravel the messages. As an adult, you don't have to let the 5-year-old who had a rageaholic father run your life. But if you haven't really identified where these messages are coming from, how they took root inside of you, your inner child will not be silenced. And it is that inner child, that 3-year-old or 6-year-old or 9-year-old who's going to run the show, whether you're in a 50-year-old body or a 60-year-old body or a 70-year-old body. So that's the first thing you need to really tune into. And then learn ways to take your power back. Really begin to understand who you are and what your sense of self says about you. And there are a bunch of exercises you can do. There are meditations you can do to reclaim your power back. But once you do that, you will experience an unimaginable amount of freedom. Being able to speak your truth and stand in your power is the most freeing experience on the planet. As long as we are tied to other people's opinions of who we are and we have the need to be liked and approved of, we are just not standing in our energy field. We are constantly running around chasing other people, looking at them and going, love me, like me, tell me I'm enough, tell me I matter. We may not be saying these words, but our actions and our behaviors are constantly communicating this. And so giving your power away is a betrayal of the self. You have to find a way to take your power back. Because think about it, when you look at women who are really empowered, don't you wish you could be more like them? Don't you wish you could walk into a room and know what to say and stand in your truth and have the confidence to speak your truth even if it means disagreeing with others? Don't you wish you could say no when you meant no and yes when you meant yes, without overcommitting, overextending, being overwhelmed all the time? So that is my invitation to you. The first thing you need to do is figure out where these messages are coming from. Identify that. And then secondly, see how you can take your power back and be the adult that you are today. Because you don't need to let that 5-year-old run your life anymore, but you need to take charge of her. You need to be responsible for her. You need to meet her needs and give her what she didn't receive because of things that happened. People just weren't able to meet your needs when you were a little girl. But now that you are an adult, you can give your inner child what she didn't receive when she was 3 or 5 or 7. So if you have any questions on this topic of power, post them in the comments and I'll get back to you. But if you enjoyed this video, share it, like it, drop a comment. I would love to read what you have to say.